Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Dave from MyGunValues.com, and today we're going to kind of do a combo video. I'm going to tackle Henry. First of all, we're going to look at the rifle that's inside this box, and then I've got some highlights for the older Henrys that we'll go over, so you can identify them should you ever run into one and have the chance to buy one. So, first thing we're going to do is open up this box. You can see it's brand new. You open her up, you come with all the labels and everything else. We'll take this stuff off very carefully. We're going to leave the tags on the lever. Okay, so what we have here is just the Henry. It's modeled from Henry as an H001. It is a 22 long rifle, lever action. It's the original Henry when the company was reconstituted in New Jersey in the mid-90s. Has 15 round capacity, hooded front sight, buckhorn ramp adjustable rear sight. Let me get this in the camera frame here. We have a straight grip wood stock. These rifles are really prized from people today, mainly for kids, but adults like them too. The ones I have sold have mainly been going for Christmas presents here lately. But I have this one in stock, and I'll probably have it till January. I don't have any more orders right now. Excuse me. Okay, it's retail on this at my shop is $2.99. You know, you can get them on the internet a little cheaper than that, but then you got to pay shipping and transfer fees. It's not uncommon at an auction when people don't know what they go for to see these in really nice shape actually sell for more than a new one retails for. And I was at an auction yesterday that I'm going to be doing a highlight video on. I didn't get any pictures of it because they don't allow video, but just to show how people, when they walk into an auction, I didn't even enter any of the prices into our pricing database because the prices were so outlandish that the people were paying. So anyway, tube feed magazine, drop it down here. Now, I recently read a review. Okay, you take that, twist it, lift it up, and then you've got the little, I'll put the red follower there. You've got the thing that you drop the cartridges in, the tube. I read an article about it was not about this particular Henry, it was a different Henry, but the author was unhappy that they used a tube feed magazine instead of a loading gate on this side of the receiver. Well, the loading gate would add cost, and his philosophy was that in a saddle scabbard that can twist and come loose and you can dump your cartridges pulling the rifle out. Well, very true, but in reality, how many people horseback hunt anymore? I mean, yeah, some people do, but the manufacturers are building for the masses. One thing I always like to do, and with rimfires it's not as important, but I always like to take 3 trigger pulls, and I'm hoping I have this set so it'll show up in the camera. It's going to take me a second to get this picture, or get this set up here so it's readable, I think. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Now, holding it like this, they may not be the most accurate readings, but it'll get us close. Okay, I screwed up. You have to, on the lineman, you have to hit it twice before it's ready. Once you hear that beep, it's ready to read. So we'll rack it again. Okay, we got 4 pounds 2.6 ounces. Get it in the camera there. I always like to take 3. Hit it twice, it's reset. We have 4 pounds, 5.2 ounces. Reset it one more time. And we have 4 pounds, 9.2 ounces. Now I'm holding this rifle where it's not on a solid rest. This isn't the proper way to take it. I'm going to take one more off camera. Four pounds, 9 ounces. And let's go ahead and do 2 more just to see how consistent it is. 4 pounds, 8.3 ounces. And 4 pounds, 8.8 ounces. So 4.8 to 4.9 out of a production rifle. The trigger hasn't been monkeyed with. Those are phenomenal numbers. Obviously the gun's unfired and it's brand new, so I need to keep it that way. And not to mention it's now winter time, and for those long-time watchers, you know my range is under 2 feet of water because it rained here pretty much the entire month of November and first couple days of December. We had 7 inches of rain in 3 days here towards the end of November, so I'm not doing any shooting. I'm hoping to get a chance to go out and do some shooting right after the first of the year. You know, it's holidays, so everybody gets busy. But that's your basic new Henry. Obviously, I did a review of that 22 Magnum a while back. You know, Henry is building bolt action rifles. They're building a lever action shotgun, which I have on order if they ever become available. I've actually got one of those sold to a customer if they ever show up. So that's the new Henry. Now in this case, the serial number is down here underneath the lever on the tang, and that's where the old Henrys were most of the time. Actually, I should back that up. I apologize. I'm thinking Winchester 1866, but we'll get to that when we do. I bring some pictures over. I don't have an original Henry here. I wish I did, but they're a little pricey to buy just for a YouTube video. I've never had the chance to handle one, and then the 44 rimfire ammunition to shoot them with hasn't been made for years. There's been a couple special runs, but it's been more for collectors than anything else. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to clear the table off, and I'm going to get some highlight pieces of paper and some pictures to show you the difference on the newer Henry or the older Henrys. And that way, if you do have a chance to buy one, you're going to know what the difference is, which model you're looking at, just by referring back to this video. So I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, we're back, and I've got some highlights here that I'm going to hold the paper up so it hopefully shows up nice and clear, and I'm going to try to read it sideways. Okay, the Henry rifle was the first practical, successful lever action to be mass produced. Now, 8,000, which is the number produced, may not seem like a lot, but it was. It is the forerunner to the Winchester rifle. The receivers, except for the very early production, were done in gunmetal, which is brass, which is a form of brass. And they can be identified by there's no wood forearm on them. Now, not to be confused, Henry today has produced a rimfire in 4440 original style Henry with no forearm. So just be aware that that's out there. Don't have somebody trying to pass off a $2,000 gun as a $20,000 gun, because there are, you know, and it says made in USA, things that the original Henrys never said on them. So, you know, just be educated. The originals were all chambered for 44 Henry rimfire. Again, as I said earlier, hasn't been produced in years. There have been a couple special runs, and there's a gentleman in Texas by the name of Bob Haley that will make them for you. And they are reloadable when he's done. And I won't, you know, just look up his website, or he doesn't have a website, but you can look him up in the pages of Handloader and some other publications, and he can make you original 44 rimfires if you so desire, or rounds that will shoot in 44 rimfires. They were manufactured from 1860 to 1866. They came about from the old volcanic arms, which had gone bankrupt. There was two major investors, Oliver Winchester being one of which, and they were called New Haven Arms. Made in New Haven, Connecticut. And there was 6,000, approximately 8,000 made in that 6-year period. Of course, the Civil War went from 1861 to 1865. So almost every Henry produced saw action in the Civil War. Now, not everyone did, but, you know, I would say modern estimates are between 80 and 90% saw action during the Civil War. The rifle, even though it was manufactured by New Haven Arms, it was named after its inventor, Benjamin Tyler Henry. In 1866, he tried to take over the company while Oliver Winchester was out of the country. Oliver Winchester got word of this, hustled back to the country, blocked his move, changed the name to Winchester, and, you know, the rest is history. And that's really how Winchester came to be in 1866. So, you know, in 1866, you had both Henrys and Winchesters produced. Now, there's 4 major recognized types of Henrys. I wasn't able to get good pictures on 2 of the 4 off the internet, so we're going to go first. Now, I mentioned something earlier about how they were brass framed. Some of the originals had an iron frame. Now, you notice there's no wooden forend, forearm, whatever you want to call it out here. Technically it's a forearm because it's separate from the wood stock, but the terms get used almost interchangeably today. But again, this is an iron receiver. I found this picture on the internet and just downloaded it for purposes. You see this little brass follower right here. That would tell you how close you were to empty, because this is a tube feed magazine. As the cartridges were fired, then this little follower kept coming back closer to the receiver. The Henry, estimates are no more than 300 iron frame Henrys were produced. They're all believed to be below serial number 600, which tells me that some of the brass ones and some of the iron ones were actually being produced concurrently. The most likely reason for this is that they didn't use the receivers exactly in the order they were numbered. They made them, threw them in a bin, grabbed them, and pulled them out. It's not the only explanation, but that's a common one in this time period. So again, these are all going to be below serial number 600. Now, real carefully, I hope this shows up. There's a little cut right here in the receiver. Okay? So we're going to grab this next picture. And this is a brass one, and you see that same cut in the receiver. That was ostensibly for mounting a receiver sight. I've never seen one of the original receiver sights mounted in this. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I'm saying I've never personally seen one. Okay? This type with the receiver cut was produced up through approximately serial number 3500. It's kind of the first one's known as the iron frame. This is known as the first type. I could not get a really good picture that did not show this cut. So just imagine, if you will, that cut not being there from 3500 up. That's really what the difference is. And then, and this is really throughout all serial number ranges, the military bought, I've seen various numbers bandied about, but the military bought roughly 1,500 Henrys for use by cavalry during the Civil War. Those will be marked with inspector's cartouches on the stock for sure, sometimes on the barrel. It's very hard to make out, but it's usually in an oval, and I believe it's CTG is what sticks in my mind, although I didn't look that up. So there's 4 basic types of Henrys. The iron frame in shootable condition is just out of all realm of affordability for most of us. You know, it's going to go for, if it's shootable condition, if it's going to go for at least $15,000 to $20,000, and it's going to go up from there. The brass frame Henrys are again going to go at least $5,000 if you could shoot them if you wanted to. Most of them long since have been retired to wall hanging in museums. There's not a lot of them out there. But these are the original Henrys. Now, I didn't separate them on the website because Henry from the 1860s is a markedly different company than Henry from the 1990s to today. These were all chambered in 44 rimfire. As again, 44 rimfire has not existed as a cartridge since Henry, as today, has made them. I believe it's called Henry Repeating Arms. Today, they are all made in the USA still, which is really a wonderful thing. It's nice to see everything being produced in the USA. Personally, I think it's worth a little more money to buy something built in the USA versus buying some of this cheap import stuff. The Remington 710 of years ago comes to mind. If you've never handled one, it is an eye-opening experience when the first time you try to work that bolt. It just does not feel right. It doesn't feel like a standard bolt action should. But those are the ways to tell the 4 basic types of the original Henrys. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot of identification videos this winter. I'm starting primarily with the old Winchesters, old Marlins, and then we will work our way up to some Smith & Wessons, some Hopkins and Allens, some Ivor Johnsons. A lot of times these production changes were made. You got to remember, centerfire cartridges or rimfire cartridges, self-contained cartridges, were fairly new. So there was a lot being learned and experimented with. Some of the changes were made because it made the firearm stronger, it made it better. Some of the changes were made to ease mass production. If we eliminate this cut, it doesn't change anything, but it saves us, half an hour of the production of the rifle, and we can get another 2 rifles out that day on the line if we don't do this cut. So those are the type of things that made those changes. Dies would wear out and they would change the stamps. Just lots of differences in the early firearms that collectors look for. And so we're gonna be doing a lot of antique identification videos, and I will admit this is a little selfish on my part. I get a lot of emails through the MyGunValues.com contact us page. People want to know what this is or what that is, and if we have the videos out there, they should be able to tell. For now, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. And please contact me through the MyGunValues.com website if you have any firearms questions. Thanks and have a good day.